ورحمة الله وبركاته. Good afternoon. Thank you all for finding time and visiting today's webinar. My name is Mohammed Abu Qura, and I'm a business developer at ICBM Group. Our company is a leading provider of value engineering services. On today's training, we are going to discuss about value engineering 5W's, to be diving exactly into how to become a value engineering certified. And before we dive in how you can do the same, I'd like to introduce today's presenters, Engineer Mushtaq Rabi' and Engineer Sharif Hammam. When you complete this training today, you will strongly nominated to work with us on value engineering project in New York City, and conditions that you attend the value engineering webinar that will held on the next October. In addition, you have a 30% discount from the same webinar. Before we start, let me explain how you can talk to us during the webinar. If you have any question during the presentation, just write them to chat. We will have a short break during the presentation and Q&A session at the end to answer your questions. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السيدات والسادة، في البداية أود أن أتقدم لكم بالشكر لحضور هذا الويبينار. محدثكم محمد أبو قورة، مطور الأعمال بمجموعة ICBM، وهي شركة رائدة في تقديم خدمات الهندسة القيمية. سنناقش اليوم منهجية الهندسة القيمية، وسنرسم طريقك لتصبح ممارسا معتمدا في مجال الهندسة القيمية. وأتشرف اليوم بتقديم المهندسين شريف همام، والذي سوف يلقي الويبينار باللغة العربية، والمهندس مشتاق ربيع، والذي سيلقي الويبينار باللغة الإنجليزية. وأبشركم أنه بعد حضوركم هذا الويبينار سوف تكون مرشحا بقوة للعمل معنا في مشروع الهندسة القيمية في مدينة نيويورك، بشرط أن تشارك في الويبينار الخاص بالهندسة القيمية، والذي سيعقد في بداية أكتوبر المقبل إن شاء الله، كما أنك سوف تتمتع بخصم قدره 30% من قيمة الاشتراك. وقبل أن نبدأ، دعوني أوضح لكم طريقة التواصل معنا أثناء العرض. إذا كان لديك سؤال أثناء العرض، فضلاً قم بكتابته في مكان المحادثات شات، وسوف نجيب على جميع الأسئلة بعد انتهاء العرض. والآن نبدأ مع المهندس شريف همام.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. برحب بكم جميعا في الهندسة القيمية، وارحب طبعا بالمهندس مشتاق من الاكسبرتس والخبراء في مجال الهندسه القيميه، ايضا يشاركنا الحديث اليوم ان شاء الله في مجال الهندسه القيميه. وطبعا هيكون عندنا في هذا الويبينار تعريف كامل بمنهجيه الهندسه القيميه والفاليو انجينيرنج، وايضا الطريق لكي تكون معتمد في مجال الهندسه القيميه. لحظات. طبعا احنا اخترنا العنوان الخاص بالويبينار عن ال 5W's. ال 5W's وهي 5 أسئلة منبعها ان كيفية المعرفة ما هي أبعاد الهندسة القيمية، وما هو تعريف القيمة، وما تعريف الهندسة القيمية، وأيضاً ما هو الطريق لكي تسلك منهجية الهندسة القيمية في الأداء العملي على أرض الواقع. معكم طبعاً المهندس شريف همام، أنا فاليو انجينير كونسلتنت، وأيضاً ليد أوديتور في مجال الآيزو، وأدفايزر في الانترناشونال أربيتريشن، والحمد لله خبير في مجال إدارة المشروعات وممارس، وسي او والفاوندر الخاص ب ICBM Group. أول حاجة، why this session؟ ليه إحنا عاملين الورشة دي؟ الورشة دي أساساً معمولة للإجابة على ال 5W's اللي اتكلمنا عليها. What is value engineering؟ ما هي الهندسة القيمية؟ Where to apply value engineering؟ فين نقدر نحقق أو نطبق الهندسة القيمية؟ ايضا why to apply value engineering، ودي من الاسئله الحرجه في مثل هذا التوقيت، خصوصا مع وجود الكثير والعديد من المشروعات التي تحظى طبعا باهتمام عام، سواء مشاريع حكوميه او مشاريع خاصه. فايضا يجب ان ننظر لماذا نطبق فيها الهندسه القيميه، وwhen to apply value engineering، ما هو الوقت المناسب لتطبيق الهندسه القيميه، وما هي المنهجيه المتبعه والمطوره لاستخدامنا لمنهجيه الهندسه القيميه. الفاليو انجينيرنج قبل ما نتكلم عليه يجب ان نتطرق لمعنى القيمه. دي مشكله كبيره، في ناس كتيره بيجي على اسمائها الهندسه القيميه، الفاليو انجينيرنج، الفاليو اناليسيز، ودي طبعا قصه كبيره هيوضحها لنا المهندس مشتاق في البرزنتيشن الخاص بيه، وهو ما هو الفرق ما بين الفاليو انجينيرنج والفاليو اناليسيز. ولكن قبل ان نتكلم عن المصطلحات التخصصيه خلينا نتكلم عن مصطلح عام. نبدا بما هي القيمه. What is the value؟ الفاليو معناها هي نسبه الوظيفه الى التكلفه، الريشيو اوف فانكشن تو كوست. ودي نقطه مهمه. كثير من الناس في مراحل التصنيع، في مراحل التشغيل للمصانع، في اي مرحله من مراحل التصنيع او تنفيذ الاعمال او ارساء المشروعات، بيهتموا دايما بالكوست او البرايس الخاص بالمشروع. واهتمامه بالبرايس الخاص بالمشروع او الكوست او التوتال كوست بالمشروع بيغفل فيه او يغفل فيه ساعتها بيغفل فيه الكثير من الفانكشنز الاساسيه اللي المفروض تواجدها على ارض المشروع. فهنا بنعمل بالانس، بنعمل توازن ما بين الوظيفه وما بين الكوست الذي سوف يدفع في مثل هذه المشروعات او في مثل هذه المنتجات. عشان كده احنا بندور دايما في الفاليو انجينيرنج على تعزيز الفانكشن. تعزيز الفانكشن يعني تزويد الوظائف باقل كوست، هو ده السبيل، ودي هنشوفها طبعا في الفورمولا الخاصه بالفاليو انجينيرنج. طبعا انواع القيمه تتنوع، في قيم تتعلق بقيمه التكلفه، في قيم تتعلق بالقيم الجماليه، وفي قيم تتعلق بقيمه الاستخدام، وايضا قيمه تتعلق بقيمه الاستبدال. فانواع القيم طبعا موضوع كبير بنمارسه ان شاء الله في الكورس التخصصي في ذلك، ولكن هنا يجب ان نسعى لمبدا الكاستمر ساتسفاكشن، اللي هو من ارقى المبادئ التي بتسعى اليها الايزو، وبتسعى اليها ايضا التوتال كواليتي مانجمنت، ان احنا يجب ان نحقق الكاستمر ساتسفاكشن للعميل. ايضا في قياسنا للقيمه، كده احنا بنتكلم بس عن القيمه، الان نتكلم عن القيمه. القيمه يجب ان تدمج ما بين عناصر ثلاثه رئيسيه. اول عنصر فيهم هو الاداء الوظيفي اللي هو البرفورمانس، ثاني حاجه اللي هي الجوده، ثالث حاجه التكلفه الكليه اللي هي التوتال كوست. وهنا في نقطه مهمه يعني بتقابلنا في السوق في عالم الاستشارات، وخصوصا في مجالنا في مجال الاستشارات. احنا طبعا من ICPM معتمده كاستشاري في الكونسلتنت دايركتوري الخاص بالساف انترناشونال، وايضا معتمده في الكونسلتنت دايركتوري الخاص بالجي بي سي اي اللي هي الخاصه بالجرين بيلدينج. فهنا في ناس كتير بيحصل معاها كونفليكت بين الفاليو انجينيرنج اند سستينابيلتي. في ناس كتير لما بيجي يقول والله انا محتاج اطبق السستينابيلتي، فبنيجي ساعتها نقول ايه؟ نقول السستينابيلتي مكلف، ودي حقيقه. قد يكون مكلف في الانيشيال كوست، ودي نقطه مهمه، ان في ناس كتير بتفتكر ان الفاليو انجينيرنج مرتبط بالانيشيال كوست، ودي طبعا معلومه خاطئه. ليه؟ الفاليو انجينيرنج مرتبط باللايف سايكل كوست. يعني على المدى، ان دلوقتي حضرتك لو جيت عملت بعض الفانكشنز وكانت الكوست بتاعها عالي حتى في بدايه المشروع، يجب ان يتم حساب هذا الكوست على مدار المشروع. ففي اللايف سايكل كوست طبعا دي نقطه من النقاط المهمه، ولذلك قياس القيمه مربوط بثلاث عناصر رئيسيه. كيف تقاس القيمه من ناحيه الاداء الوظيفي، مخرجات الاداء الوظيفي، وايضا الاداء الوظيفي للمشروع، للبرودكت، لاي حاجه، ايضا الجوده الخاصه بهذا البرودكت، ودي بتتعلق بالكاستمر ساتسفاكشن، وتتعلق ايضا بتوقعات ورغبات العميل. فدي نقطه مهمه يجب ان تحظى باهتمام جميع المصنعين وجميع صانعي المشروعات. وايضا التكلفه الكليه اللي هي التوتال كوست، وفي ساعه ما نتكلم على التوتال كوست لازم نتكلم على اللايف سايكل كوست كما اشرت سابقا. عشان كده لما بنيجي نتكلم عن البالانس بتوين البرايس بنتكلم بتوين برايس اند ايه؟ اداء، كواليتي، سيفتي، تايم، كوست، كل دول بيكونوا في كفه. يجب ان يكون هناك ميزان بين البرايس، بين السعر وليس التكلفه، بين السعر اللي حضرتك هتقدمه للعميل وبين طبعا اداء المشروع او اداء البرودكت او اداء المنتجات اللي حضرتك بتخرجها والكواليتي الخاص بيها وطبعا السيفتي والتايم والسكيدول والكوست وما شابه ذلك. هنا بنتطرق لنقطه مهمه في عالم الكواليتي. في كتير من الناس المهتمين بعلوم الكواليتي بيجي عندهم كونفليكت في هذا الموضوع. عارفين ايه الكونفليكت؟ ان بدايه علوم الكواليتي كانت ابتدت بعلم خاص اللي هو بنسميه دلوقتي السكس سيجما. اوكي؟ بنسميه السكس سيجما. السكس سيجما لما ابتدت معانا والتوتال كواليتي مانجمنت ابتدوا بمنهجيه بيصنعوا فيها قله الديفكتس. عشان كده بنيجي نوصل في مرحله الثمانينات ابتدت معانا مرحله الديفكت اليمينيشن، وهو ان احنا كيف نقضي على عيوب المنتج. لما ابتدينا في هذه المرحله ان احنا للقضاء على عيوب المنتج واضطرت المصانع والشركات الى رفع الكوست لان هو بيشتغل على مرحله الديفكت اليمينيشن. فاصبح هناك منهجيه في التسعينات ظهرت معانا كيف يتم عمل ديفكت اليمينيشن وفي نفس التوقيت كوست ريدكشن، فالاثنين ينزلوا مع بعض. نزول الاثنين مع بعض صنع معانا منهجيه الفاليو، فهنا ظهرت معانا الفاليو كرييشن، ودي اللي هنشوفها ان شاء الله مع بعض بعد قليل في المراحل الخاصه بالفورمولا او المعادله الخاصه بالفاليو انجينيرنج. طبعا لما بنتكلم عن الفاليو انجينيرنج دلوقتي عرفنا ما هي معنى القيمه، دلوقتي يجب ان نعرف ما معنى الهندسه القيميه. الهندسه القيميه هي جهد جماعي. يعني ايه جهد جماعي؟ يعني هي مش انديفيديو، يعني هي مش جهد فردي. ايه الهدف من هذا الجهد الجماعي؟ ان احنا نعمل ورك شوب، نعمل ورش عمل لعمل تحليل كامل لوظائف المشروع. طيب وبعد ما نعمل وظائف المشروع يتم تحليلها التحليل الكامل، نلجأ بعد ذلك للمرحلة التي بعدها وهي مطابقتها لأهداف ومتطلبات المالك والمستفيد اللي بنحقق فيه الكاستمر ساتسفاكشن في النهاية. طبعا كل الكلام ده كله بيتم ازاي وما هو الأساس وما هو زي ما نقول الأساس الساحر في نجاح منهجية الفاليو انجينيرنج هو ابتكار البدائل، السوليوشنز اللي حضرتك هتضعها. عشان كده الفاليو انجينيرنج لازم تتم من خلال ممارسين ومن خلال خبراء في هذه العلوم، طبعا عندهم خبره عاليه في هذا المجال وفي المجالات التخصصيه اللي بنسعى وبنعمل في ضمنها. عشان كده السلايد اللي حضراتكم قدامكم الفاليو انجينيرنج مش مبني على الانديفيدوال ايفورتس. ودي نقطة مهمة. يعني ممكن البروجكت مانجر يشتغل لوحده، والفاليو سبيشاليست يشتغل لوحده، الديزاينر يشتغل لوحده، الاونر يشتغل لوحده، كله بيسعى إلى تخفيض التكاليف. هنا دي مش فاليو انجينيرنج. الفاليو انجينيرنج ان كل دول بيتجمعوا في فاليو تيم كامل من اجله نوصل في النهايه ان احنا نوصل للسوليوشنز اللي المفروض هنطلع بيها في النهايه والريكومنديشن الخاص بذلك. عشان كده منهجيه الفاليو انجينيرنج هي منهجيه جماعيه وليست منهجيه تتبع القطاع تتبع المجهود الخاص. طبعا في عندنا امثله كثيره من الناس اللي استخدموا الفاليو انجينيرنج. طبعا في المملكه العربيه السعوديه تعتبر ثالث دوله على مستوى العالم في عدد دراسات الفاليو انجينيرنج على مستوى العالم، وطبعا ايضا هي من الدول المتقدمه جدا في اعداد السبيشاليست الخاص بالناس المختصين في مجال الفاليو انجينيرنج. فطبعا نجد ان كثير من الشركات اللي بتشتغل في مشاريع الميجا بروجكتس، اللي بتشتغل في مشاريع المشاريع الهامه والمشاريع الكبرى، طبعا بتعنى بمساله الفاليو انجينيرنج والهندسه القيميه. طبعا تطبيقها بيوفر كتير على الاعمال اللي موجوده. الفاليو انجينيرنج بتحقق لغايه 30% تقريبا وفر من الوفرات والسيفنج اللي بيحصل على مستوى المشروع. طبعا دوت اللي قدامكم قرار وزاره الماليه تقريبا من حوالي 15 سنة في المملكة العربية السعودية على تعميم على جميع المشروعات لعمل دراسات الهندسة القيمية على مستوى مشروعات المملكة العربية السعودية. طبعا أبو ظبي من سنة تقريبا ابتدت في هذه المنهجية أيضا على أرض الواقع، وعممت على الكاتيجوريز خاصة، بعض الكاتيجوريز الخاصة بالمشروعات. فهنا بنتكلم على مسألة مهمة وخطيرة، إن الحكومات في مثل هذه الأوقات ابتدت تعتني جيدا بمنهجية الفاليو انجينيرنج لتحقيق الوفر وتعزيز القيمة الخاصة بالمشروع. الهندسة القيمية منهجية لخفض التكاليف وزيادة قيمة المنتجات. الهندسة القيمية مجموعة من الخطوات لتحقيق المهام المطلوبة من عنصر أو منتج بأقل تكلفة. أسلوب منهجي للقضاء على التكاليف الغير ضرورية، وطبعا بنحصل فيها على أقصى قدر من الأداء لكل وحدة تكلفة اللي هي الهدف الأساسي من الهندسة القيمية. هنا بيجي سؤال مهم جدا وبنسأل عليه كمختصين أو ممارسين لهذا العمل: ما هو الوقت المناسب لتطبيق الفاليو انجينيرنج؟ ومن هم المنوطين بتطبيق الفاليو انجينيرنج؟ وايضا ما هو الهدف لتطبيق الفاليو انجينيرنج؟ السؤال المهم والخطير: متى تطبق منهجيه الهندسه القيميه؟ الهندسه القيميه طبعا زي ما وضح عند حضراتكم بدايه على السلايد اللي قدامكم، ان هي رايت كوست، رايت كواليتي، رايت ديليفري، هي بتصنع معانا الرايت فاليو. وعشان كده في نقطه مهمه جدا هنا، وهي مساله متى نبدا بتطبيق الفاليو انجينيرنج. بدايتنا في تطبيق الفاليو انجينيرنج بيبدا من مرحله البري ديزاين، يعني في اي مرحله، في مرحله ما قبل التصميم. عارفين حضراتكم للاسف الكبير على ارض الواقع بيجينا احنا كاستشاري في مجال في مجال الهندسه القيميه، بيجي لنا مشروعات كبيره بتكون انتهت من مرحله التصميم، قبل مرحله التنفيذ يجي هنا ويقول لحضرتك المالك يكلفك بعمل دراسه للهندسه القيميه او للفاليو انجينيرنج. ودي طبعا من اخطر الاوقات التي تمارس فيها مثل هذه المنهجيات. منهجيه الفاليو انجينيرنج احنا بنتكلم ان هو ما هو افضل وقت لتطبيقها هو في مرحله لسه بنفكر في المشروع. اوكي، لكن في مرحله الديزاين لما يتم الانتهاء منه فهي للاسف بتكون مرحله متاخره جدا لعمل اللازم. ليه؟ لان احنا فيها هنبتدي نعمل ريورك، هنبتدي نعمل اعاده تصميم للمشروع، وبالتالي حضرتك بتخسر كوست كتير. ليه؟ لان احنا منهجيتنا مبنيه على الفانكشن اناليسيز، على تحليل الوظائف الخاصه بالمشروع. طيب هنا لازم نعرف ما هو ليس هندسه قيميه، دي عشان نفك اللبس اللي عند الناس. ايه هو اللي what is not value engineering؟ ايه هو اللي مش هندسه قيميه؟ الكوست كاتنج ده مش فاليو انجينيرنج. ديزاين ريفيو مش فاليو انجينيرنج. كل المراحل اللي انا بتكلم فيها دي مش فاليو انجينيرنج. الريسك اليمينيشن نوت فاليو انجينيرنج. سكوب ريدكشن نوت فاليو انجينيرنج. كواليتي ريدكشن نوت فاليو انجينيرنج. ريديزاين نوت فاليو انجينيرنج. ديتيلد كوست استيميشن نوت فاليو انجينيرنج. يجي مشروع من المشروعات مثلا على سبيل المثال، حد مثلا مقدم مجمع سكني كومباوند، فالكومباوند دوت فيه 500 يونت، تمام، 500 وحده سكنيه، فيبقى عاوز يعمل فاليو انجينيرنج، فيروح يقول طيب خلاص، يعني اللي بيتوهموا ان ده فاليو انجينيرنج بيجي يقول خلاص احنا ممكن نعمل سكوب ريدكشن دلوقتي، او نعمل هولد على بعض السكوب، فنقدم ان احنا بننفذ 250 وحده، وفي 250 وحده ناجلهم فيما بعد. دي مش فاليو انجينيرنج. ليه؟ لان حضرتك هنا يعني ضربت السكوب بعرض الحائط. تمام؟ الفاليو انجينيرنج ان احنا هنشوف طبعا الفورمولا بتاعتها مع بعض علشان نفك الغمامه اللي عند كثير من الناس. احنا لما بنيجي نعمل فاليو انجينيرنج مش معنى كده ان احنا ننقص الفانكشن الخاصه بالمشروع، مش معنى كده ان احنا نعمل كوست كاتنج. للاسف من الشركات، من المكاتب الهندسيه الكبيره للاسف عدم النضج وعدم الوعي بمنهجيه الفاليو انجينيرنج غير موجود عندها، فبيحصل عندهم ان هو بيعمل كوست كاتنج ويقول ان انا عملت فاليو انجينيرنج. تدي له حضرتك مثلا، بيتوهموا ان لما يبقى السقف فيه مثلا 20 طن خاص بال 20 طن حديد، لو حضرتك عملته مثلا 2 طن او قللته 2 طن او ما شابه ذلك، يبقى انت بتعمل فاليو انجينيرنج. ودي طبعا من حاجات الخطيره للاسف والغير صحيحه على ارض على ارض الواقع. عشان كده بنقول ان الفاليو انجينيرنج ابروش از نوت كوست كاتنج، از نوت كوست كاتنج. وهنا بقى بيكون عندنا نقطه مهمه جدا وهي تحليل الاكتيفيتيز. عشان كده احنا بنقول يا جماعه لما نيجي نبتدي الفاليو انجينيرنج في وقت في اول المشروع، وقت مبكر للمشروع، هو ده الوقت الصحيح لتفعيل مبدا الفاليو وتعزيز مبدا الفاليو على ارض على ارض الواقع. طبعا احنا عندنا الناس الخبراء اللي معانا في اداره المشاريع واللي درسوا معايا او درسوا عموما PMP قبل كده، هيلاقوا عند حضراتكم في يعني موضوع خطير ومهم في السكوب ستيتمنت الخاصه بالمشروع. في السكوب ستيتمنت الخاص بالمشروع بنعمل حاجه اسمها برودكت بريك داون. البرودكت بريك داون بنطلع فيه بحاجه مهمه وهي تحليل بيقول الفانكشن اند نون فانكشن ريكوايرمنت. تمام؟ الفانكشنال اند نون فانكشنال ريكوايرمنت. طب الفانكشنال والنون فانكشنال ريكوايرمنتس نوصل بيهم نوصل بيهم للنسيسري كوست والانسيسري كوست. فدي طبعا دي من الحاجات المهمه جدا عندنا، يجب ان تحظى بالاهتمام التام في بدايه مبكره لاي من المشروعات اللي احنا بنشتغل عليها. عشان كده من الاهميه بمكان زي ما قلت لحضراتكم ان احنا نبتدي مشروعنا من البدايه في تطبيق منهجيه الفاليو انجينيرنج. ودي طبعا اللي بتوصي اليها جميع الجايدز وجميع الميثودولوجيز وجميع الجهات المنوطه والمعتمده في ذلك، ان احنا نبتدي فيها في بدايه المشروع. الفاليو انجينيرنج فورمولا معادله بسيطه جدا بتعزز عندنا مبدا الجوده. بتقول المعادله ان الفانكشن على الاف على السي، يعني الفانكشن على الكوست ايكوال للفاليو. فلو احنا رفعنا الفانكشن، يعني عززنا الفانكشن، زودنا الوظائف الخاصه بالمنتج او البروجكت، وثبتنا الكوست، يعني زودنا فانكشن بنفس الكوست، يبقى احنا كده بنعلي الفاليو، بنعلي القيمه. لو احنا زودنا الفانكشن وقللنا الكوست، يبقى احنا رفعنا القيمه. لو احنا زودنا الفانكشن مرتين، يعني ضعف الكميه او ضعف الوظائف اللي حضرتك تخيلتها، وايضا رفعنا الكوست بس مره واحده، يعني نص التكلفه الخاصه بضعف الوظائف، فاحنا كده علينا الفاليو. لو احنا نزلنا الفانكشن ونزلنا الكوست مرتين، يبقى احنا كده بنرفع الفاليو. نيجي اخر معادله، لو رفعنا الفانكشن ورفعنا الكوست، يعني احنا زي ما احنا بنبدا او بنرفع في الفانكشنز، في نفس التوقيت بنرفع في الكوست الخاص بيها، فاحنا هنا بنقلل من الفاليو. دي طبعا معادله الفاليو انجينيرنج، ان الفاليو بيعلى لما نعلي الفانكشن، الكواليتي، البرفورمانس، ونقلل طبعا التايم والكوست. طبعا في عندنا جايدز بنشتغل عليها، في جايدز بنشتغل عليها طبعا، جايدز عالميه ومعتمده. طبعا عندنا السيف انترناشونال، طبعا عامله لنا الفي ام جايد، عندنا اكيلوس عامله لنا المانجمنت اوف فاليو، ايضا من الجايدز المهمه والفعاله في مثل هذه الاعمال. طبعا الحمد لله رب العالمين احنا بنقدم جميع الدورات التدريبيه المعتمده سواء من الساب انترناشونال او الام او في الخاص بالاكلس في مرحله الفاونديشن او مرحله البراكتيشنر. ودي طبعا من المنهجيات، طبعا دي منهجيه امريكيه ودي منهجيه من المنهجيات البريطانيه. مين بيستخدم؟ امتى بنستخدم الفاليو انجينيرنج؟ ايه الموعد المناسب والوقت المناسب لاستخدام الفاليو انجينيرنج؟ زي ما قلت لحضراتكم في المرحله المبكره لاتخاذنا للقرار الخاص بالتصميم. طبعا هنا عشان كده بيقول لك ان المصمم عليه عبء في الفانكشن اناليسيز ايكوال لل 49% تقريبا. وهنا السلايد اللي واضحه لحضراتكم دلوقتي بتوضح نقطه مهمه، ان احنا عندنا هنا الديزاين تقريبا ايكوال ل 5% من التوتال بادجت اوف ذا بروجكت، تمام؟ ولكن الريفليكشن الخاص بالديزاين اللي هي بتعمل ال 5%، المؤثر ال 5% مؤثره بنسبه 70% على مجرى حياه المشروع. ودي نقطه مهمه وخطيره. في ناس كتير يا جماعه بتنظر للديزاينر، عشان كده في مكاتب من المكاتب الديزاين تكون مظلومه في مرحله الديزاين. طبعا انت عاوزه يعمل لك فانكشن اناليسيز، عاوز يعمل له فاليو انجينيرنج، فاليو اناليسيز، عاوز يعمل كل الكلام ده كله وفي نفس التوقيت باسعار زهيده. لكن السعر تقريبا العادل لاعمال الديزاين على مستوى العالم فهو بيكون من 3 الى 5% من قيمه المشروع. فال5%، تخيل بقى ان ال5% من قيمه المشروع عدم الاهتمام بها يؤثر تاثير جذري على على انعكاسها على القيمه الكليه للمشروع. تمام؟ طبعا الماتيريال بتيكوال ل 50% ولكن الريفلكت بتاعها 20%، الليبرز بيكونوا 15% والريفلكت بتاعها 5%، والاوفر هيد طبعا الريفلكت بتاعه رغم ان هو الويت بتاعه عالي ولكن الريفلكت بتاعه بيكون 5%. هنا عندنا اهتمام خطير بمين؟ بالمرحله او ببند الديزاين، لان الريفلكت بتاعه هو التوتال ويت بتاعه 5% ولكن الريفليكشن بتاعه 70%. ودي طبعا دي بتوضح اهميه اهميه الحرص على جماعه التصميم في الاعمال اللي بيقوموا بيها في مرحله الفاليو انجينيرنج. هنا دي بتوضح طبعا معانا السيفنج الخاص بالفاليو انجينيرنج. لو تلاحظوا اكبر سيفنج هتلاقي حضرتك بتحققه امتى؟ بتحقق اكبر سيفنج في اول مرحله اللي هي مرحله البلاننج، لسه اللي بتعمل فيها اناليسيز، اللي بتدي فيها البري ديزاين وبتشتغل من خلالها. طبعا تعتبر النت لوس اللي شايفينها حضراتكم بالاحمر دي تعتبر للاسف اسوأ مرحله حضرتك بتعمل فيها فاليو انجينيرنج، لان خلاص بيكون كل حاجه وضعت في محلها، تغييرها بيضطر حضرتك اسفا تعيد جميع اللوحات وتعيد جميع المشروع مره اخرى. الفاليو انجينيرنج جوب بلان، لما بنيجي نشتغل فاليو انجينيرنج بنشتغل على 3 مراحل رئيسيه. في الستيج 1 اللي هي البري اناليسيس، ستيج 2 بتكون الفاليو اناليسيس، الستيج 3 بتكون البوست اناليسيس. وطبعا عندنا في ال3 مراحل اهم مرحله عندنا بتكون اللي هي ستيج 2 اللي هي الخاصه بالفاليو اناليسيس. طبعا الفاليو اناليسيس بتمر ب 6 مراحل رئيسيه ودي اللي هنوضحها دلوقتي مع حضراتكم. اول حاجه بنشتغل على مرحله الانفورميشن فيز، ثاني حاجه بنشتغل على الفانكشنال اناليسيس، يعني اول حاجه بنجيب معلومات للمشروع، بعد كده بنعمل فانكشن اناليسيس. كرياتيفيتي فيز، نبتدي الافكار الابداعيه تطلع للتوجهات والحلول اللي حضراتكم بتشوفوها. بنعمل ايفالويشن على البرين ستورمنج والكرياتيفيتي والورك شوبس او الفوكس جروبس اللي عملناها في مرحله الكرياتيفيتي. بعد كده بنعمل ديفلوبمنت لما تم تقييمه في مرحله التقييم، وبنوصل في الاخر خالص لمرحله الريبورتنج فيز. طبعا في مرحله الانفورميشن فيز بنعمل بقى الديزاين كرايتيريا، معايير التصميم، السايت كونديشنز، بنجيب كل الحاجات الخاصه بالسايت كونديشنز، الباك جراوند الخاصه بالمشروع، الافيلبل ريسورسز، كل حاجه خاصه بالمشروع من النواحي المبدئيه كعناصر رئيسيه لصناعه الوظائف الخاصه بالمشروع وصناعه المرحله التي تليها وهي الفانكشن اناليسيس. طبعا هنا في الفانكشن اناليسيس بيتم دراسه الانيشال كوست، بنبقى عندنا دراسه للانرجي كوست. طبعا كل الكلام ده كله بيكون تمبلت، يعني في تمبلتس خاصه بذلك بنشتغل عليها عن طريق ورك شوب بتكون عنيفه بيكون فيها المتخصصين. يعني حضرتك لو عندك فندق او عندك مشروع مستشفى او عندك منتج حضرتك بتنتجه، بيكون معاك المهندس المعماري والمهندس الانشائي ومهندس الميكانيكا ومهندس الكهرباء، كل الفول تيم بيكونوا موجودين، وبيكون معاك حد خاص بالكوست استيميشن. فدي كلها من فرق العمل المتكامله اللي بيفكروا مع بعض مع الديزاينر، بيفكروا مع بعض مع الاونر او الاونر ريبريزنتيف علشان نوصل في النهايه لافضل فانكشنز في المشروع اللي بتحقق فيها اعلى فاليو خاصه بهذا المشروع. طبعا عندك الكواليتي موديل، عندك الار او اي الخاصه بالمشروع، عندك الفانكشنال بيرفورمانس، الفانكشنال اناليسيس. كل دي حاجات طبعا بيتم دراستها طبعا بعمق في الكورس الخاص بالفي ام اف 1 اللي هو ال 40 ساعه. وطبعا دي من النقاط المهمه والخطيره اللي في النهايه خالص بنوصل في حاجه اسمها الفاست دايجرام، اللي هو بنرسم فيه جميع المراحل الخاصه بالفانكشن اناليسيس وتحليل الوظائف الهامه وطبعا البرايمري او السكندري فانكشنز اللي احنا بنشتغل عليها. ومنها بنطلع بحاجه اسمها الفاليو اندكس. مرحله الكرياتيفيتي طبعا بنمسك كل اللي احنا عملناه كفانكشن اناليسيس ونبتدي نطور الموضوع بوضع البدائل المناسبه لذلك. بنحط فيها التشيك ليست. طبعا هنا لازم الراجل اللي بيشتغل في هذا الموضوع يكون عنده خلفيه عن الكواليتي، يكون عنده خلفيه عن التوتال كواليتي مانجمنت، يكون عنده خلفيه عن الكوست استيميشن، عن الكوست كنترول، عن جميع الحاجات دي كلها. الايفالويشن فيز طبعا بنوصل فيها ان احنا بنحقق منها تقييم لجميع ما تم ادراجه من افكار في المرحله السابقه. وهنا في نقطه طبعا خطيره ومهمه، وهندرج ان شاء الله يمكن بعد اسبوعين وبينار اخر ان شاء الله هيكون كيف نحقق الفاليو انجينيرنج من وجهه نظر السستينابيلتي، يعني وجهه نظر الاستدامه، كيف نحقق الفاليو انجينيرنج. في ويبينار ان شاء الله نعقده يمكن بعد اسبوعين ان شاء الله هيكون عن عمل التوازن ما بين او الانتجريشن between الفاليو انجينيرنج اند sustainability. وهنا بنخضع لمنطقيه اللايف سايكل كوست ونظريات اللايف سايكل كوست والمنهجيات اللي بتستخدم للحفاظ واقناع العميل باللايف سايكل كوست. بنوصل في الاخر خالص في الديفلوبمنت فيز اللي منها بنطور ما تم تقييمه، وفي النهايه بنطلع بالريبورتس النهائي الخاص بالفاليو اناليسيز اللي احنا عملناه والفاليو انجينيرنج ريبورت في النهايه. اتمنى اكون وضحت الموضوع بصوره يعني صحيحه وسريعه لوقت حضراتكم، وطبعا لمنح طبعا المهندس مشتاق ان شاء الله الوقت الكافي طبعا البرزنتيشن بتاعه باذن الله. لو في اي اسئله باذن الله حضراتكم يا ريت حضراتكم تراسلونا وتحت امركم في اي وقت باذن الله.
شكرا مهندس شريف. الآن هذه البشرى السارة للسادة المشاركين باللغة العربية. أنت الآن مرشح بقوة للعمل معنا في مشروع الهندسة القيمية في مدينة نيويورك، بشرط أن تشارك في الويبينار المقبل والخاص بالهندسة القيمية والذي سيعقد في بداية أكتوبر، كما أنك تتمتع الآن بخصم قدره 30% من قيمة الاشتراك. Now let's start with engineer Mushtaq Rabia.
Good evening, everybody. I'm just gonna share my screen. Can you hear me clearly, Sharif,
Yeah.
Mohammed?
Yes, you're free.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, I'm just gonna share my screen. All right. Okay. So, good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining this session. Great work by Sharif, Hammam, Mohammed in organizing this. So thank you ICPM Academy for organizing. So the presentation is closing the performance gap. The performance gap is really, about the product or the project that you're delivering. That's what it's the performance of that product we are talking about. I'll try to avoid duplication. So there are some overlap might be between what Mr. Hammam has done and what I'm going to present, but I will try to be brief and I'll give you some example. Well, actually one example, and then we'll talk about the certification process. So what we will cover today is the concept of value, a little bit of background, some of the benefits, timing, a case study, recent case study from like 2 months ago, and why value management or value engineering works, and the certification process. A little bit about myself. I was an architect for 8 years and urban designer, planner for 6 years. And for the last 12 years, I'm a value specialist. I work for the city of Calgary as well. And more recently, I am trying to work with ICPM. I'm a director of Value Analysis Canada on the board since 2011. I'm a trainer in value management, and also I lead, that's my main job, I lead value engineering, value management studies or sessions. One thing, I think, Sharif, you have already covered this, but I'm just going to share with you what our experience a little bit. Here you see that we call it value, and it doesn't matter what the term is, but value analysis is something in the planning stages where we look at portfolio programs, options analysis, feasibility, concept development. When we use the value methodology, we call it value analysis. And when we use it in the detailed design phases, we call it value engineering. So one thing I want to share with our audience today, that irrespective of the term value assurance, value analysis, value engineering, or value management, they all follow value methodology. If anything, if you can remember from what I'm presenting today, please remember these 3 things. It's about function, it's about innovation, and it's about decision making. So at the end of the day, it's about what does it do, what a product does. It's a tool, method for innovation, coming up, as Sharif mentioned, about creative ideas. And it's a decision-making method for top management in an organization, whether you work for the government or you work for the private sector. It's a decision-making tool that you have looked at all possible options. You have identified the best value options, so they feel comfortable that this is the right way to proceed. I have a quick question for Sharif and Mohammed. Am I speaking too fast, or is it okay, or should I slow down?
Yeah, for me, you're okay.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So at the end of the day, value methodology is designed to answer 6 questions. What is it? What does it do? What must it do? What does it cost? What else would do that job? And what does that cost? And when we, again, Sharif has already mentioned, when we talk about cost, we are not just talking about capital cost, we are talking about life cycle cost. That means both operation and maintenance, as well as capital and anything in between. The early concept of value was in 1731, when Swiss mathematician Daniel Bernoulli mentioned that the determination of the value of an item must not be based on its price, but rather on the utility it yields. So this utility is, already you have heard the word function. It is that function that is the utility that the product or process, project, service, whatever is provides. We've moved to 1942. So 1731, 1942 in General Electric, already Sharif probably has mentioned. My apologies, I don't speak or understand Arabic, so I have to speak English. It's about function over resources, and function is defined as an action or an intended action that must be performed by a program, project, product, process, or service to meet customer need or business need. And it is typically expressed in a verb-noun format. Again, it's a methodology for innovation, engaging a multidisciplinary team. It's typically performed in a workshop environment, and it is about analyzing the essential functions about a program, project, product, whatever that, if it's a building, if it's a pipeline, if it's a refinery, or any, systems process, whatever. And I just wanted to share this with you that you can apply to, of course, project level, which is very common. You can apply it at a program level, which according to PMI is a collection of projects under a program. And then you can also look at an organization's portfolio, because what is happening today is that you have $100 and you have 500 projects. So how do you prioritize? Where will you allocate money? And in addition to efficiency, value methodology or value engineering can help you to prioritize your projects so that you can allocate the right amount of funds to or money to a specific program or a project. You have heard this in 1942. It was started in General Electric. Lawrence Miles, who was the inventor of the process, it used to be called value analysis. So he did it for about 5 years, spending about $1 million back in 1942 to 1947. And he found that in General Electric, they improved the performance of products, on-time delivery, and in addition, the most important thing for many organizations is that they were able to avoid $200 million in additional cost. So in the US, in many parts of the world, they use the word savings. I'm using the word cost avoidance. That means this is a cost you otherwise would have spent. And so it was a cost avoidance, or from that perspective, savings or deferral, if you may will. So in 1947, General Electric adopted value analysis as a standard business practice. And why we need this? Because we are living in an uncertain economic times. The global economy, the political situation, we have, we are in a very uncertain times. They cannot predict anything. We also have organizations and rich countries. They're dealing with shrinking budgets. We also have demanding customers, citizens. There are governments. Everybody is demanding better service, and they don't want to pay for it. So how can you, and I'm speaking from a public sector government perspective, if you work in the government, you probably know that, you have so much demand, so many things you have to do, but there is only limited budget. And you also have competing priorities. Should I do project A or project B, or program C or program D? So all these things, value methodology can help you to come to a defensible decision making. This is probably an important slide for people who are involved with programs and projects. So, when you have it's a problem opportunity matrix. You probably have seen this in the past. When you have a known problem and a known solution, your project management process, if you're a PMP, your project management processes work fantastic. However, there are other situations where you have a known problem but an unknown solution. Okay, then you can apply value management or value engineering. Other situations where you have an unknown problem but you have a known solution, you can also apply value engineering or value management. The last one is the critical one for organizations, or for even public sector, private sector, doesn't matter, where you have an unknown problem and an unknown solution. So how can you come up with a tangible, approach? You can apply value engineering or value management. So at the end of the day, this is a medium risk area, and this is a high risk area for any organization. If you are in, any of these two situations, definitely you can apply confidently value management or value engineering. So you have to go and understand the requirements, and then you can move to this quadrant where you have a defined problem, you understand what is the problem, and you have a defined and clear solution, and now you go and deliver that project or program. So this is where, as I said, project management works very well. You have already, Sharif Hammam has already shared this with you in a different diagram, but the idea is that, you spend 5% effort in planning and design of the total effort, yet that determines 70% of the cost impact, okay? And then you have your execution and labor and everything, that is about 25% of the cost. and then you have your 30% effort that goes into 5% cost or the overhead. So this is where you apply value management in the planning and design phase, which can significantly help your capital and O&M cost side. And this is where, of course, the project management works fantastic. Very quickly, the reasons why value is diminished from any program or project. This was written by Lawrence Miles, who was the inventor of value analysis or value methodology. He mentioned that these are the 7 reasons why value is lost in any program, project, process. Lack of essential information, incorrect and invalidated assumptions. So we assume something, but it may not be correct. We take as organizations, I work in the public sector, I've seen it, there are temporary decisions that become permanent. We also have honest wrong beliefs as individuals. We believe that this is it, but probably it's wrong. We also can have lack of specific idea. We have a general idea, but we are not sure exactly what we need to do. As individuals, as human beings, we have old habits and personal attitudes. And I remember many years ago when I was trying to, in this organization where I work, we were trying to talk about value engineering or value management. People said, hey, Mushtaq, I've been doing this for 20 years. I know what to do. Don't disturb me. So that's the personal attitude and old habit. They think that they've been doing it for 20 years. I don't need to know anything more. So that is a very dangerous situation where an organization may really lose an opportunity not only to deliver the best service or best product, and also could enhance their revenue or save money, and those opportunities are lost because of people's mindset. And as some of the benefits, it does an accurate assessment of program project scope. It reduces overall risks and schedule. It remedies planning and design deficiencies, and Sharif has already mentioned about these items. It's an assurance for top management or administration. It establishes organizational reputation that, hey, you know what, we have done this, we know exactly what we are doing, everything is good, and we know how much we're going to spend. In recent years, Sharif knows this. A couple of probably about 7-8 months ago, I was working in an organization in Saudi Arabia, and I realized, and I noticed actually, they have this list of projects that are on they call it withdrawn. Withdrawn means they have started the project, and I'm talking about like 300, 400 projects across Saudi Arabia, where they have started the project, and after doing 30% or 50%, they have stopped the project because it is the wrong project. And it is not about the delivery or project management process, because they didn't have a good understanding of what the problem was. And this is where value management can help you, that you can clearly define the problem so that you can address the right solution for it. So I was shocked to see somebody has raised a hand. Maybe Mohammed, you can address that. Maybe, I don't know if it's a question. And Mohammed, you have, Mona Nabil, you have raised your hand. Is there a question, please? Okay. So it brings alignment among your stakeholders and teams, and definitely at the end of the day, it offers the value for money option. You get a sense of satisfaction as a PM that you are delivering the right product. The earliest, the better. This is where value management becomes very effective, and it's actually in dollars. I want to ask Mohammed or Safa, do you want to see Miss Mona Nabil has raised question? A raised hand, sorry. I don't know if it's a question or not.
Yeah, I can see here. Okay, no worries.
Okay, no worries. I'll continue. Okay.
All right.
Thank you. So, and Basant Sarhan has raised hand. Again, I don't know if it's a question or a comment.
Yes, just a question, a quick one.
Yep.
If I didn't follow value engineering or value analysis at the beginning of the project, like you just said, how can I resolve the problem later on in the project?
So once you see the challenge is in the planning phase, if you know what the problem is and if you have defined the right solution for it, in the construction stage, let's say I'm talking about a construction project. In a construction stage, you can have other challenges of material or supply or labor issues. I don't know. Those are project management issues. Value management cannot help you there. But value management is that this is one thing I think maybe we should clarify for everybody. And please feel free to raise your question or comment. Value management focuses on end product, okay? What is the asset we are going to create, whether it's in IT or oil and gas, and Sharif mentioned number of industries where it is applied. Even BMW or Toyota, they use value engineering to define the product. Once you define the product and as you go into delivery stage to execute it, that's when project management is very useful. I just want to make that distinction that value management is not about, it can help you decide how you're going to deliver it, but it is not the delivery method. Your delivery method, your execution strategy, those are part of your project management controls or application or whatever processes, project management processes. But it is started in manufacturing industry, and it focuses on the end product. If it's a building, if it's a pipeline, whatever it is, the focus of value methodology or value management is on the end product. So if you have issues I'm sorry, I missed the name, Mr. Sarhan, you mentioned that if you have issues down the road, like if you have issues I'm just showing this diagram here, if you have issues in the construction stage, that's where your project management is very effective. And you're under schedule pressure. But if you define it well in the beginning, that's exactly what you're going to do. Otherwise, you can imagine none of the manufacturing industry, whether they, think about Apple iPhone, right? Or Samsung Galaxy, they use value methodology for coming up with new products and what they are supposed to do, what is their function, how they will perform. All those things are defined, then they manufacture it. Same thing in a construction project. You have to define it right so that you can reduce your delivery risks, your schedule, your issues down the road. And those issues that might happen during construction may not be addressed by value methodology unless you have time. I know one example back in 2008. There was a huge hospital that here in Canada, Alberta government was building, and the market was, the material cost was so high, they did a 3-day value engineering study, and they looked at all options, and the decision was, let's stop it for 3 years. They stopped the construction for 3 years because the material cost was going high for demand somewhere else. So again, these are in dollars, but you can see that when you're master planning, you can potentially save about $103-4. If you're looking at strategic value planning at an organizational level, dealing with your programs and portfolio, you can potentially save $130. And again, this is for every dollar you apply or you use for a value engineering exercise. So the ROI, return on investment, is for every dollar you are spending on value engineering, it will give you $130 back. So that's the ratio shown here. Okay, so also Sharif Hammam talked about the different phases of the project, so I'm not going to go there. Very quickly, if you remember, Sharif also talked about function analysis, right? So I'm just going to show you some quick examples, and then I will get you a real life case study. In this case, this person is painting a fence. the function, the basic function of this painting is to protect surface. It may look good, but that is not the basic function. The basic function is to protect surface. That's why the paint is applied here. But in an aircraft, when you apply paint, see the activity, the job is same. They are painting. But in this case, the function is different. And if somebody is thinking about aerodynamic plane, all those things are there, but the basic function, you see, it becomes fuel efficient aerodynamic if the plane is light. But they put 1,100 kilograms of paint in an aircraft only for brand identity. It's marketing. You have Saudi Airlines, you have Emirates, you have Egypt Air. All those paints are done for promotion, for marketing, identity. That this is an aircraft from Egypt or from Saudi Arabia or wherever. Another example is heat food. And why we do function analysis in value management or value methodology? Because we can think about alternative ways of branding identity or heating food. We use it every day. We don't think about it. We just put the food inside, we press 30 seconds or 1 minute, and the food is heated. But there are other ways of doing it. So far, we don't know. But as you know, there are other ways of heating food. This is a bridge. Everybody knows. It's about connecting points, but also it's about spanning distance, connecting points. When you think about spanning distance or connecting points, you can think about other ways of spanning the distance if you know what the distance is. So the function analysis, the main reason, and this is the main thing that differentiates value methodology, value engineering from any other improvement science in the world. There are 32 improvement science, as I think Sharif has mentioned, Lean, Six Sigma, and there are many others, Scrum, Agile, many things. But this is function analysis is the key thing that differentiates value methodology from any other improvement science. In fact, many of the, this, as you know, this was developed in 1942-47 time frame, but many ideas that came out in the 50s and 60s were actually started from value methodology. They used it as a baseline and they tried to change it. So it has lived for almost more than 75 years. Another quick example, it's a hammer. Everybody knows how to use it, but if we think about what is the basic function of a hammer, it's a hammer. Everybody knows we can drive a nail. That's how it's an activity. That's how we use it. But if I say the function is to really deliver force, you can think about other ways of delivering force. So the purpose of function analysis in value methodology is really to generate creative ideas so that if you can understand what something's supposed to do, you can think about alternative ways of doing it. Sharif has already shared this. There are different ways you can improve the value in a project or a product or system, whatever. This is from my experience. I have done about 34 value management, value engineering studies. And it shows that we have seen that for every dollar we have spent, the average return is $180. Again, this is in dollars. We have seen also anywhere between 7% to 81% cost avoidance or deferral. Average is 16% cost avoidance. And typically, the cost of a value study is around 0.25% of a program or project budget. So you can see that with limited investment, you can get a huge return. Compare this, 0.25 versus 16. And of course, I'm showing you average. So here is a case study. It's integrated civic facility. It was done at a concept design level. This is from an example from the organization I work in. It's a facility that has a number of stakeholders, number of departments are involved. It covers basically affordable housing. There is a huge library. There is arts and recreation facility. and also there is a transit hub. So it's about bus transit, you know. So there are multiple stakeholders. They are not sure about the scope. What is the scope of this project? There is a governance issue. Who is going to fund how much? How they're going to resolve it? That is all actually a project management issue, but we were able to resolve it through value management. There is also budgetary limitations, and there was a delayed schedule. They have been talking, discussing, going to consultant. They changed consultant. It happened over 15 months. You know, more than a year, I think 15 months was passed, but they could not resolve it. So finally, we went through a value management exercise, and you know, they weren't sure. This is where function analysis becomes very useful. There is wants, you want something, but there is also need. There is something you must do and something it's nice to do. And that helped us. This exercise, I did this in June of this year. And you know, they had a budget, you know, the design shows a budget of $53 million versus their actually allocated budget was only $35 million. And as I said, they have spent 15 months in discussing and, you know, talking to consultants, you know, and they could not resolve it. There was, as I said, affordable housing. So government here in Canada, our city, they are making housing for low income groups where, you know, they're gonna spend, you know, they can pay a little bit of money and they can live in that apartment. So that was the challenge. So we did a 40-hour. This was my first virtual workshop. It was 1 week. So we had 5 days of 40 hours of workshop. There were 22 participants with leading expertise. Both we had people from internal to the organization and external. So we invited a couple of external experts who are either architects or structural engineer or mechanical HVAC systems, all those stuff. And it's an integrated civic facility. And the reason I'm using the word integrated, because City of Calgary has decided that they will not build one facility anymore, like one fire station or one police station or one library. They're not going to do that. They will try to integrate different uses in a mixed facility. So that's why it's called integrated facility. So all the business departments focused on true integration, both spatial and operational issues, and what really adds value not for me, because I'm just you know, one of the persons who work in the city, but what customers, what will they see as a value? And then obviously also, again, Sharif mentioned earlier, life cycle thinking. It's a facility that was planned for 60 years. You know, it's a solid structure, but, you know, I'm sure everywhere they have a life cycle thinking, whether it's 30 years, 50 years or whatever. So this was for 60 years. Please do not try to read this. I'm just seriously telling you, no, don't try to read this, but Sharif mentioned about the function logic diagram. So we developed this function analysis diagram where you target value, we call it value target functions. So not everything we can resolve in a project, but we targeted functions in this, from this fast diagram, where there are 5 or 6 functions here that actually addresses 90% of the cost, okay, project's budget. So we target those functions for brainstorming or going through the creative phase. So we generated about 300 ideas. Out of that, you know, it's a 5-day workshop. We developed about 10% of these ideas as business cases. Business cases means, here we call it business case. As Sharif mentioned, it's a recommendation. It's a recommendation to the authority that these are the ideas you must integrate into the project. So the team focused on the value management team, this multidisciplinary team focused on site development, spatial programming, systems. Systems here covers both mechanical or HVAC, structural, building envelope. You know, Canada is a cold country, and building envelope is very important because there is heating, cold issues. Okay, and also they looked at the project delivery model. This is where obviously a lot of project management people are very interested, because what was the delivery model? How are we going to deliver this? And I'm going to show you, again, the reporting looks very small in this presentation, so I'll just go through this. So we clarified the real need and scope. All these solutions, we identified about between 35 to 45% cost avoidance or deferral. Because if you remember, it was 53 million according to the design. It was brought, and their budget was 35 million. This was brought down to about 32 million, I think. And stakeholders decided, aligned on the options. What are the things they're going to do? So this is the result. I'm just showing you from the report very quickly. Don't try to read this, but you can see that this is the function. These are the ideas. This is the function. These are the ideas, and there is your initial cost, O&M cost, and life cycle cost. Okay. Also, if you can see this, for site development, we identified about $14.5 million in cost avoidance. In program, the spatial programming and build form, we identified about $13.88 million in cost avoidance. And again, remember, this exercise is not about, as Sharif has mentioned a number of times, this is not a cost reduction exercise. But when we understand the function and we generate different ideas, when you look at, actually I should explain this. If you look at it, see there are some numbers that are in red. Red means this is a cost increase, okay? Anything in red here is a cost increase, and anything in black here is a cost avoidance or savings, potential savings. Energy efficiency, 1.7 million. Structural system, 2.9 million. Procurement, just one idea in procurement can save about $6 million. What else? Traditional approach, I think Sharif covered most of it, that, there is a project manager and he's talking to different disciplines to solve or deliver the project or develop the design. In value methodology, we focus on function, and every discipline is focused on that function, so that how else can we do it? Another idea is creativity. And a person who is, is a professor at University of California, he identified that most professions, three professions keep their creativity longest. These are scholars, scientists, and artists. And then he did an actual research, and he found that this was his prediction, that most people actually keep their creativity quite long until probably about age of 50 or 60, and it goes down. But reality is, in reality, between 15 and say 35 or 40, people are most creative. And after that, they have a little bit of spike at the age of 50 or something, and it goes down. This is for any other profession. And so in value management, through function analysis, we always bring in people who are experienced as part of the study. And so through function analysis, we try to increase their creativity, and we have seen this happen actually in real life. Another thing is traditional approach. In many organizations, you identify the problem somewhat, you generate 2-3 alternatives, you recommend a solution, and you just proceed with it. But in value methodology, when you do this exercise, you go through a convergent, divergent thinking. You have a lot of information, you do function analysis, now you become focused, then you become creative. Again, you become divergent. And then you go through that evaluation and you become convergent again. This is really probably one of the key reasons in a 1-week window, when people think like that, it generates a lot of good ideas. And then you develop them with a couple of choices, and then you present recommendation that, hey, you know what? These are the ideas you should include in your program or project. So value methodology helps not just projects, but programs and portfolio, as you know, performance and cost. Most project managers are interested in the project delivery and the capital cost. Okay, so definitely value methodology can help you in gaining efficiency there. But if you look at large programs, many organizations have large programs. It can also do that. And this is a stretch of the definition. And then you can look at portfolio level, I don't know, Ministry of Housing, they have a large portfolio. You can apply value methodology to prioritize, to identify where they should be, what are the top projects or programs within that portfolio. Last is all engineering, it's applied by all engineering professionals, architects, top management of companies, government ministries. And my thinking is that, hey, you are probably an engineer or an architect. You should get this skill and stand different. There are a lot of people doing a lot of stuff, but this is one thing that it'll take some time, but if you get it, if you acquire it, you can do amazing stuff. Sharif already mentioned, a lot of industries are using it. Consulting industry, it's for strategic planning, transportation, water, wastewater, vertical build, everybody uses it. Little bit about the certification process. I hope I'm managing my time well. Mohammed, am I okay with time?
Yes, you're okay.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
So SAVE International is the authority, Society of American Value Engineers. They are the custodian. Certification exam, everything works. So if you, I'm sorry? Sorry, what was that?
Nothing.
Sorry, okay.
Yeah.
So this is the certification process so this is, maybe you should pay attention a little bit more. You take it's called, this is the starting point. This is the first step if you want to become truly a value methodology expert or a value engineer, is you have to do value methodology fundamentals 1. It's a 32-hour course. You complete that, and then you have to write an online exam. It's called VMA exam. It's 1.5 hours. It costs US $185 for SAVE International members. So you have to, that's the way many professional organizations work, right? If you want to become a PMP, you have to become a member of PMI. So you pass this exam, you become value methodology associate. Then you actually have to participate in 6 to 8 value management studies or value engineering studies, which is at least 240 hours altogether. Once you do that, then you qualify to sit for the next course, which is Value Methodology Fundamentals 2. Actually, after, I think they mentioned now that after 2 or 3 studies, you can still sit for this exam, this course, but you to qualify for the CVS exam, you have to have that 240 hours of study completed. And so that CVS exam is 3.0 hours, and it costs about $360. Once you pass that, you become a certified value specialist. Now you are kind of set that whichever organization you work for, you are ready to do value studies. You can develop value management programs for the organization, whatnot. But this is the first step, VMF1, and this exam you become a VMA, and then you have to do these studies to take the next course, VMF2 or Value Methodology Fundamentals 2, and then you can sit for the CVS exam. I think one other thing I should mention, as part of CVS exam, they want, before you sit for the exam actually, they want you to submit a paper. I think they say around 2,000 words in English. Of course, I'm using the word English. 2,000 words. That is a kind of they call a scholarly paper that shows how you have applied value management in your experience, or that 6-step process. Okay, so that's a scholarly paper. You can choose any project. It can be a project. It can be a personal life. It can be anything. But they say, you have to write a paper before you sit for the CVS exam. So I haven't put that here, but I just wanted to tell you verbally. I think I mentioned 32 hours course, certificate of completion. then you become eligible for the VMA exam, and you have a separate online exam with multiple choice. These are things Sharif already mentioned about this book. There are 2 other books that you have to, as part of training, if you want to pursue value methodology associate training, you have to have this value methodology memory jogger and function analysis guide. Those are the 2 books that are required. In very quickly, I will share this presentation with ICPM. You can look at it. This is basically the training agenda. It's a 32 hours course, and Sharif Hammam and his advice is that we split it into 8 days. Instead of 8 hours every day, we do 4 hours every day, and that way over a 2-week period you can you know, let's say, I don't know, Sunday to Wednesday or something. If you do 4 hours, then, you know, we can complete this 32 hours training. I think that's it. Thank you so much for your time. I'm more than happy from anybody to, if you have any questions or comments or concerns. I'll stop sharing. Is that okay? Sharif, are we good?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mushtaq. Fine.
Thank you,
No
Engineer Mushtaq.
Great presentation. Yeah, thank you.
So, you know, if there is any question, you know, sorry.
Yes, we have many questions. You can review with me.
Okay, I will do that. So, are value engineering templates fixed? No, they are not fixed. It's from Hilal Al-Khuzaimi. There is another one in Arabic. I don't know what that means. Ryan Basfar.
1 minute. About the material, presentation material. Okay, we will share by email our presentation material, and also
Yes.
We will share this record on the we uploaded and share with all people. كل البرزنتيشن ان شاء الله هنرفعه لحضراتكم ان شاء الله ونبعته لكم على الايميل باذن الله. Yes.
Okay, there is a gentleman by the name of Mustafa Elias. He said, is there a good source on the application of value engineering in O&M projects? Yes, we have done it. In the city of Calgary, we have done it. If you have an existing project and you want to improve it, yes, there are many good examples. You can always use value engineering, not a problem. And then Mustafa Elias has another question. How can value engineering reduce cost and time overrun in O&M projects? Well, we have to know. So this is where you need to have data. We need to know. And Sharif, please feel free to add, okay? If I miss something,
yes, no
jump
problem.
in.
No problem.
So, you know, in I'm going to give you, if Mustafa is on the call or in this session, you know, there was an existing facility that the city of Calgary was running, and it was costing them, I think, every year something like every year about $11 million, just the operational cost. Okay, so what we did was, I'm just giving you a quick example. We looked at the processes within the that facility. They were producing you know, what we call biosolids. In wastewater industry, they call it biosolids or sludge. Okay, so they use it for making fertilizers. And so we looked at processes, we look at their distribution method and everything, and you'll be surprised. It was identified that they can bring it down from $11 million per year to $6.5 million. So it was purely an exercise where the director of that facility was very, very upset that it was costing them so much in operations. And so we did a value study. It was 3.5 days. And we, of course, remember, any value study, you have to have reasonable amount of data to do the analysis. Again, it was done in a workshop. We had like, I think, 19 or 18 people. This was done about 7 years ago. And we were able to give them some ways that they can manage their overall operation and maintenance. So I think from 11 million to 6.5, you can calculate the percentage. It was like, I don't know, 40% less or something. So there is another question. What kind of problem that we can face during the design phase? Is it technical or about cost assigned for the project? Well, if you remember Sharif's presentation, he said 5% effort goes into design, but that impacts 70% cost. So if you can do the right design for the problem you're trying to solve, you can tackle the cost right away. Now, remember, value management, I have to tell you this for everybody who is on the call today. Your value management is done at a specific point in time, but it is the program manager or project manager, they have to take the load and they have to implement it. Value management is not an implementation method. It is a decision-making method. So once you identify what you're gonna do, then you have to carry it forward. And yeah, there might be some changes, that's okay. But at the end of the day, if you do it consistently, you will see there is a significant risk reduction, schedule reduction, and definitely cost reduction in the project. Even if you deliver the project at the same cost, and Sharif has already mentioned that, you will see you have better performance, better operation and maintenance. If you wouldn't have done the value study, your $100 project could have become $130 or $150. So it is, in a way, you can manage your budget for the project or program applying this method. Okay, another question, does value engineering make...
Excuse me, Mr. Shrab. This
yes, sir.
Two person raised hand.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yep, please do.
Mr. Abdul Qadir. Okay, allowed to go. Mr. Abdul Qadir. You can talk now.
Okay. Does engineering make decision in project problems? Yeah, if you have, what do you mean by, so Hilal Al-Khuzaimi mentioned.
Hello?
Yes.
I am Mr. Abdul Qadir.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum.
I
have two questions. The question number one, now what is the difference between the Six Sigma and the value engineering methodology? I feel there is some similarity in the approach itself.
Yes.
Second question, what I have understood from the value engineering is similarly related to the root cause analysis. We are identifying what are the cause of having, for example, inflation in the money, in the quality, and then we are solving it. Am I right, or I'm having something else?
No. Your root cause analysis is an input to a value study. Because again, remember I mentioned at the beginning, there are three things: function, innovation, decision making. Value methodology is a tool for innovation. Okay, decision making and innovation. Your root cause analysis is an input to the value study. Okay, because the root cause analysis, because you have a problem that you want to solve. So you do your root cause analysis because there is some problem, somewhere that you have to solve. So how else can you solve it? So your root cause analysis is definitely an input to a value engineering study. But I will let Sharif talk about if you have that question about Six Sigma.
Yes, same Six Sigma with the value analysis or value engineering. Six Sigma also coming based on the solving problem. We have problem after we make implementation for the quality management system. Any problem we have it, we can resolve by Six Sigma methodology. Value engineering not based on the problems. This make creation for the ideas, and also make innovation and creativity. And Six Sigma also we use the creativity, but in the solving the problem.
In some ways, Mr. Abdul Qadir, I can say, I want to just thank you, Sharif. That is a very good answer. Lean Six Sigma, these are often used in operations, okay? If you have an existing process operation issue, or you have some manpower issue, you can apply Six Sigma to see where the bottlenecks are, and then you try to resolve it. And that's where the creativity comes into play. in fact, Lean was developed by Toyota Corporation. So they used value engineering or value management to come up with the new types of product. But in their manufacturing process, they wanted to reduce waste. The Lean is about reducing waste. I hope that answers your question.
So we're talking about Six Sigma is talking about only the negative part of the issues. Value engineering is considering the negative and the positive area that we could implement it.
Yes, it's a sure. Six Sigma is kind of done once you have implemented something. Okay, so let's say you have designed a building, you have built it, and now you're running it. Now you can, so every building, there is an annual operation cost, whether it's energy cost, other maintenance cost, or whatnot. So you can use either Lean Six, nowadays actually it's called LSS, right? Lean Six Sigma works together. So you can apply that to see where are your pinch points, where are the issues, and how you can resolve them. So in a way, value methodology is excellent for coming up with a new concept, new idea, new product. Okay, and you can apply Lean Six Sigma to an existing operation.
Yes.
After the execution, it's required execution to identify what are the issues that we need to tackle it down.
Yes.
And value engineering, we
yes.
could identify it from the beginning before we start the execution.
Correct.
After implementation,
absolutely.
we use the Six Sigma. Yes.
I see.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Fine. Mr. Abdul Ghani.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Sharif. I have a question regarding the value engineering. As you mentioned that value engineering, for the best outcome of value engineering, it should be started during the plan and design.
Right.
The reality, I can see also in the projects you have mentioned, the value engineering in real, it is starting after design before starting the project management, because the designers usually concentrate on the general outcomes. But once it's coming to the reality, to the start of the execution, then here it's in this threshold, they're starting thinking about value engineering. That's why we are losing a lot of let's say importance of value engineering study during design. Do you think that in the real life, value engineering could be really involved in the design stage?
So, Sharif, let me answer that, then you can please add.
No problem. Take your time.
So Mr. Dalal or Abdul Ghani, my question is, what is your role in the organization? I have to ask you that question. You have raised a very good point, and it's a very valid point, but I want to ask you, what's your role in the organization you work for?
Actually, I'm doing the project management after design and active in this stage.
Sorry, you're cutting out.
I'm doing the project management of the execution projects after completion of the design. I'm related to design company, a USA company, and managing the projects after design stage in connection with the design team.
Correct. So actually, in ideal world, I'm just saying, I'm using the word ideal, means this is the desirable state, is that there should be 3 studies in a large project. There should be minimum 3 studies. One is at concept level, okay? One is that concept that you're actually hitting the right thing, number 1. Number 2 is 30% design, when you're trying to see that what you have designed, it's a course correction. You want to make sure you're getting all the efficiencies. And at 90% design, where you want to do a constructability review. Okay, you want to do a constructability review to make sure, if it's a construction project, is that what you have done at the concept at 30%, and now in construction, as you know, there can be always some challenges. So definitely if it is done after the design, as Sharif has already mentioned, I'm sorry to say this is not the right application. If you do it after design. But if you do it as part of constructability review, you want to check that is it, I've seen this even in Calgary, even in Saudi Arabia when I was there, that they think that value engineering is done after design. This is, I'm sorry to say, but this is the wrong concept. The concept is wrong. If you can, it's not like you cannot do it, but you will not get the best return. Okay.
You see, Mr. Mushtaq, you see the presentation?
Yes.
Yes. When we are using value engineering after design, we should to be make redesign. I think.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes. Because it always changes things.
It change many things. That the ideal time to use value engineering at the for the not on the concept design, also in the stage of the pre-design. I think pre-design is the ideal stage to use value engineering. After design, we should we will make value analysis, value function analysis, everything that we should to be redesign the project.
3 participants have raised hands, so it's good. People are getting engaged.
Thank you very much for those.
Fine. Mr. Raed.
Assalamu alaikum. Okay, a question, actually a comment about the answer that Mushtaq has just given. I truly believe that value engineering is not only one session, especially if it's a big project. There will be multiple sessions in order to achieve the importance. Because, for example, at the concept, at the very early stage, we don't have any concrete value or the costs, let's say, of the project. So it's very difficult when you are bringing alternatives to compare this cost towards that cost. You need a little bit more development in the design in order to be able to talk about cost. This is a personal opinion. But my question, is it possible that you show a fast diagram? It's one of the very ambiguous, but maybe the most important thing in the functional analysis.
Yes.
Can you show a sample and just go through it quickly, please? Especially when they are talking about the critical path, which is quite understandable. But then later when you talk about the functions that happen at the same time or once in a time or all the time, could you please elaborate a little bit on this?
Yes, sure. I will show you a study I did in August, the week of August 10th to 14. So I share my...
I think fast diagram or function analysis report, we should to get 4 hours minimum.
It's not the I understand your marketing strategy, but just I'm asking an example.
Not marketing. No. Not marketing.
No, I will show you. I'll share my screen. And so, sorry, who's asking that question? Right.
This is right.
Right, Mr. Right, yes.
Right. Just out of curiosity, how do you pronounce your last name?
Rashdan. That depends. If you pronounce it in Canada, Quebec, it will be Rashdan, but if you pronounce it here, it will be Rashdan.
Okay, so you're from North Africa?
No, I'm Palestinian, Canadian, like yourself.
Oh, really? But when you said Quebec, That's why I was wondering.
Yes,
okay.
Je parle français.
Okay, so all panelists. So I think who can share? So only host. So
no, you can share.
Okay.
I'm
just trying to. Okay, but it says all panelists. Okay, all right. Okay, but it doesn't show me that. I'm trying to show the screen. Okay, I got it. Okay. Okay. All right. So can everybody see my screen? Okay.
I do.
Okay, perfect. So this is a study that we did, organics compost facility expansion. Okay, and here I will tell you, this is the by the way, typically I'm telling Sharif and everybody here that what I do is in the real value engineering workshop, real life, a lot of people do it, on a poster sheet, like sticky exercise and whatnot, right? So what I do is I actually create the diagram in Microsoft Visio. I review the project documents or program documents. Everybody is slightly different. I'm just saying this is where I become a little bit more, Sharif, I become and read that I understand the project for myself first. Okay.
Yes,
So
yes.
because it's important that I should know about the project before I do a workshop. So I did an initial diagram of this facility expansion. I think it's a $70 million expansion in Calgary. So we identified some objectives, one-time functions, all the time functions, that things that will happen all the time. And then this is your critical logic path that you were talking about. And this is also, when it's connected, it's happening at the same time. This is the when. So this is the when thing. I think, Rayad, you were talking about when, right? So
yes.
It's about the basic function we identify. By the way, once I draw this diagram, I bring this in the workshop, I bring this in front of the participants. And I share with them, hey, this is my understanding of the functions of this project. And I show them the how and why logic. And so the main purpose is to accommodate peak source separated organics. So it's called SSO. Hopefully you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, we do.
Yeah, so it's, how do you do that? You maintain throughput capacity. How do you do that? You increase capacity. How do you do that? You optimize operations. How do you do that? You determine process capability, and so on, and it goes all the way to define performance criteria. Actually, this is a very interesting project. Sharif, if I may take extra few minutes, I will share with the audience.
Take your time.
Okay, so, and this is happening at the same time. So this is a parallel stream that is happening at the same time. And this is where it's, again, as you know, right, this is not a process map. This is a function logic diagram. But at the end of the day, what City of Calgary does is they sell the organics compost as a fertilizer, okay, to the farmers in this region. So that's why we had, the main thing is that we put be market ready, because as part of the study, the marketing was not part of our objective or scope of the value management study. This was what we have, as you know, this is the area, this is the scope line, and this is everything. So everything within it was part of the value management study. But what you see here as green, okay, these green functions were identified by the team as the functions to target, to brainstorm new ideas. So typically in a function diagram, we identify 6 or 7 functions that we brainstorm on. And I have also done a cost analysis. I can show you if you have.
Before you move, if you don't mind, like here, can we say that you have 2 critical paths, for example?
Yes, that's right. That is correct.
Okay, wow, okay.
And this is the when function, reduce overs, screen non-compost.
Okay.
So you're right, in this project, there are 2, because you know why? Because one is as you know, that the city collects the food waste and yard waste in a green bin, right? This green compost.
Yes.
But there is another thing that is happening in this facility in Calgary is the wastewater industry. They, once they process the, wastewater, they create this thing called sludge or biosolids. The nice word is biosolids, right? So this biosolids is also mixed in this facility for fertilizer.
Okay.
So in this project, there were 2 critical path functions. But at the end of the day, as you know, this is the higher order function, right? Why we accommodate peak SSO, and then you have the higher order functions. And these are your, on the very right-hand side here, you can see the kind of receive feedstock, pre-process stuff, and blah, 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 whatnot.
Okay, okay.
But some of these were actually changed by the participants. So for example, determined process capability was not there. And this is something that was introduced by the experts. They said that, hey, I think this function is missing.
Okay. And
so
how
what
this
happened?
is linked? How this is linked with the upper part, like the one-time function or all-time functions?
They are not linked.
Okay, so
they are
the
not,
upper part is only listing.
No, this is not listing. Okay, so for example, let me clarify something. This is an existing facility that is under operation, right?
Okay.
So they have to get approval from the city administration for budgets and other, they call the development approval. So you have to get the development approval so we just put the word secure approval. Also limit disruption in the sense that in the regular operation, they have to limit disruption. There is an existing vehicle flow. And this is a manager, I think, or director, she wanted that, hey, we should maintain the vehicle flow, something that should not disrupt with the expansion. I said, fine, let's put it as a one-time function. And then because, the project may be done in 1.5 years. So it's not something that will be going on forever. And then they also have to commission the expansion. Once the facility is added, this is the existing facility, they are expanding the facility. They have to commission it. So we put that as a one-time function, and these are all the time functions, means that is happening in this. Again, these are all related to this particular project, right?
Okay.
So all the time functions are there. For example, they have to optimize energy use. They have to verify process performance. They have to meet Alberta government's regulation. They have to reduce facility or operation and maintenance, like irrespective. They have to, organics facility, they have tremendous bad smell. So they have to contain the odor because within 3 to 5 kilometers, they have, this technology is there where they can contain the bad smell in spreading more than 2-3 kilometers. The other thing they also identified as an objective is that this operation risk, because...
But these functions are not part of the critical path in this case.
No, they are not.
But though they are important.
Yes, they're important, but they are not part of the critical path because the project is the facility expansion Mainsky. Actually, what they're doing is they have this compost technology and they are under capacity now. The city of Calgary's facility can only process 100,000 metric tons per year, but already last year they had 125 or 24,000 metric tons they had to process.
Okay.
So now it's about the process technology they have to expand.
Okay. Thank you for your time and patience to answer this question.
No problem. I hope this helps.
It does.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody?
Mr. Abdul Ghani, I think Abdul Ghani is here. Again. Mr. Abdul Ghani?
No, it is, sorry, it was...
no problem.
Sorry.
For VME exam, 90 minutes, Mr. Mushtaq?
Yes, 90 minutes.
90 minutes, okay. Okay, I think...
there is one question that says, can we apply value analysis to solve disputes over closing out the project? Yes, you can apply, but it will not give you any benefit. If you don't get benefit, why would you do it?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, okay. Okay. I think we'll close our webinar, inshallah.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Engineer Mushtaq Rabia, and thank you very much, Engineer Sharif Hammam, for your great presentation. Now, let me congratulate all participants today. Just let me share this first.
Your camera twisted.
Twisted now? All right, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's good.
Okay, now? All right. Now let me congratulate all participants, because not only you are strongly nominated to work with us on the value engineering project in New York City, and condition that you attend the value engineering webinar that will be held in the next October. In addition, you have a 30% discount from the same webinar. نشكر الجميع للحضور الكريم، ونتمنى أن نلتقي بكم في المرات المقبلة. شكرا لكم. Thank you for all participating in today's webinar, and we hope to see you again next time. Thank you. السلام عليكم
Thank you, everybody.
ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you. السلام عليكم.
Thank you so much. Salam.
عليكم السلام.
Bye.